a little bit of context around the characters that you play, the rank you're at, any short-term, medium-term, long-term goals, stuff like that, basically.
Sure. First of all, is your name Kajor?
Yeah, I mean, not my actual name, but
Well,
no,
that's your business name or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
That's fine. Or that's okay. So mine is John. My name actually is John. I'm just called Jono in the game. I'm an old fart, so I'm not. I get a lot of people tell me that I sound like I'm around my 30s. I am not. I'm someone, however, that used to have a computer business. I've always gamed. I've kept gaming, and I hope to keep gaming. No, I'm not expecting to be able to get into 500. I'd love top 500 or something. I'd love to. I'm here because I'm serious about Overwatch being a game that I absolutely love, and it's a real escape for me. I've explained some of what I do, so I won't go into that. Okay, in Overwatch 1, so I played like in Overwatch 1 when I started with Overwatch 1 when Mercy still only had, when Mercy's res was actually her ult, but she
Right,
could
right,
res
yeah.
multiple people at once. And so that's going back a bit. In Overwatch 1, I did play quite a bit of comp. I got my gold hammer. I'm talking about Reinhardt.
Right.
So my main character that I play lots of hours on, I have played lots of hours on, is Reinhardt. I then probably my next down. I don't know if I should have maybe left Overwatch open, then I could have told you my rankings on that. In Overwatch 1, I was playing comp and I did get a reasonable level and got my gold hammer. But when I say reasonable, I mean I'm trying to think, the rankings were different then compared to what they are now in Overwatch 2, like as far as the colors and things. But I was silver at one stage, or was it platinum? But yeah, I mean I'm just I'm hoping it's not disappointing to you, but I'm not like someone who's probably going to end up in league. I'd love to, but I'm not going to be there. I'm here because I would seriously like to improve, and I respect people like yourself who've played a lot and have coached, and because in my own spheres I've been a coach and I'm an educator and I'm a psychologist and a counselor and a youth worker. So yeah, I just want to pay someone who I can respect to help me improve. If I can, in regards to my goals, I would like to do. So, I mean, what is even the colors now? I'd like to get to platinum, which might sound like nothing to you because of what you play at, but for me, that'd be great. Okay, I didn't finish what I was telling you about Overwatch 1. So with Overwatch 1, we had a group that we played with all the time, and it was really, really good. And we used to actually spend time together on working out, like we're having a lot of problems back in Overwatch 1 through different stages with Bastion at one stage, and then another time we're having a bit of a problem with Reinhardt seemed to be getting, like, as my main, it was really hard to get through Bastion and a few things there. So we'd actually set up games and play and practice, and we work out techniques and ways to do it. I'm just dribbling now, not giving a lot of information. So in Overwatch 1, we had a group we played with. In Overwatch 2, I haven't been able to get a group together. I've got a few people around me now that are young people, which are great. I love young people, but I'm wanting to get a few people around me so we can make a team again, so we can start playing as a team and start playing lots of comp. I have find it infuriatingly frustrating and pisses me off to the max trying to play comp on my own. I'd get ahead, and then I'd get a run of idiots playing comp who should just play quick play, go away, because you're stuffing up people like me who really want to play, like, love it and play hard, because then my rankings just go blah 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 blah, and I'd just go, oh, what the frig, So I'm trying
Right.
to get a group again together so that I can play comp. Sorry, go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of context there, which is good. There's I guess, a lot of points to touch on. I was just gonna say actually that, considering you played an Overwatch 1 with the group, it would be obviously great to sort of form some kind of long term or some kind of team environment where you feel less frustration playing the game, because it can be frustrating playing comp when you are with a bunch of randoms. I will say, so I'm guessing because your goal is to get to plat, you're around goldish level, around about that.
No, I'm not. I'm not. In fact, I've only just got out of bronze
Oh,
because
okay,
I haven't been able to play. I haven't been able to play with a group. But I'm just saying, I mean, even gold's going to be a first stage, and then it might need to come and pay you some more money or take one of your recommendations and find another coach. But I believe that I can improve. I know I'm doing some unforced errors. Sometimes I'm running in and I shouldn't be. There's a few things I'm aware of, but as someone at your level, you will see a hell of a lot more than what I'm going to see of myself, and that's what I
Right,
respect. So
right.
yeah,
I think there's a lot. Whenever I coach someone of like this kind of velo, it's important to not miss the forest for the trees or to try and look for the big fish in your play because there are going to be lots of things that need improving. But it's really focusing on the fundamentals of why you're playing this character in the first place, what you're good at, what your strengths are, and again making sure that you can maximize those hopefully over time. And then, of course, when you get higher, like beyond plat and diamond, that's when the micro becomes a little bit more important, where your decision making as a whole becomes a little bit more complex. But yeah, of course, it's looking too far into the future. We'll focus on the Sigma stuff for now
yeah.
in this game. Speaking
I
of
just
this,
realised. Sorry, I meant to cut you off. So sorry,
no
KJ.
worries, no worries.
I don't know. I've picked this game and I'm on Sigma, and yet my main that I play 90% of the time is Reinhardt, so it wasn't a good game to pick. But anyway, that's fine. Sorry that it's
Yeah,
go on.
no, I was just gonna ask actually, what is your hero pool? This is Reinhardt, and is it just Ryan mainly, or what else do you play?
So okay, so I try not to just have run because basically in a lot of games I'm starting to get to a point where I'm realizing, okay, no, this is no good against this particular Riso. I need to change over to Sigma, or I need to go over to Hog, or I need to go over to who else do I play off the top of my head? But no, I usually try and keep 3 or 4 different tanks that I can play, but Reinhardt is still my strongest.
All right,
So I can still so Sigma's probably my next strongest. I do play Orisa. I do play Hog as well, but they're probably my main 3. In other categories, I really don't. I haven't. In Overwatch 1, in fact, I played a lot of Echo and I got very good at Echo. Then they nerfed Echo massively and it just cheesed me right off. But my main other ones that I play if I'm not playing tank is actually heals. And I'll primarily play Mercy. I've got a reasonable amount of hours up on Mercy as well. So
right. I think it's interesting that you sort of mentioned that because swapping is a thing that's important, especially at like super high level play. But for
yeah,
99% of the player base, I'm sure you've maybe heard this saying too, but it's more so about how you play rather than what you play, especially at this kind of level. And you kind of briefly mentioned there, the Ryan against the Arista thing or whatever
yeah,
situation you might feel that playing Reinhardt is tough in. I can guarantee you that 90% of the time, even higher than that actually, it's probably down to a playstyle adaptation of not playing Reinhardt correctly or not trying again to do something else to adapt your playstyle against the character, like Arissa for
yes,
example, rather than swapping off to play Sigma or whatever the case may be. Obviously, Sigma is, and that just obviously doesn't just apply to Reinhardt. That obviously applies to Sigma and every character in this game. But next time, I mean, when we go over Sigma here, if you feel compelled to swap off a character, ask yourself why. Is it because, or is it literally just because you have no idea how to play a character in a situation? In which case, that's fine. You can acknowledge that, and then maybe you can learn about it later or after the game, right? Because I feel like a lot of the time swaps are made impulsively, even in high level play, and it's like you can change how you play basically. Even if it's playing a character in a suboptimal situation, you'll be fine if you know how to play the character most of the time. And in fact, if you check leaderboards, like I'm sure right now I can just take a very quick glance. You will see one tricks. Like if I go to here, go to damage for example, there will be a one trick here probably at some place or some time, somewhere across the leaderboards. Yeah, there we go. Like eventual one trick in GM3. And it's like there's like a Bastion player as well that was like champion or something. Like it's fairly common to see one tricks even in high level play because it matters about how you play rather than what you play. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so so yeah, that was the game I
I
think.
just opened I just opened up Overwatch really quickly just to refresh my memory. So yeah, I also play Ram quite well as well and fairly hard.
Okay.
So Sigma, Ram, Orisa, Hog are ones that I play regularly and I feel confident on. And yes, I completely agree. If I could play Reinhardt or whatever character better than a lot of time, I wouldn't be swapping out. But sometimes I'm finding with certain characters like Munga or certain
Right.
what's his name, that other tank which I really hate. I find that I can counter them better on a different tank, and that's why I will swap. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Right. Right.
find that
Right.
I've got a better chance of countering that one. And
It's
yeah,
yeah
if I could
yeah.
play Reinhardt better, I could probably counter them. You're right. Yeah.
Because in the short term, in the short term, the way I see swapping is kind of like a band-aid solution in the moment to try and fix something and try
Sure.
and win a situation. But again, in the long
Yeah.
term, it's going to be counterproductive for your actual improvement. And you kind of mentioned that you play like 5 or 6 characters. The analogy I like using, like think you're think like you're pretending to learn an instrument for a week. Let's say you're learning the violin for a week, and then the week after you're learning the cello, and the week after you're learning like the double bass or something. Like, all of these are the same family of instruments. They're all string instruments. But had you learned the violin for 3 of these weeks, you would have made more progress learning the violin than had you just learned it for a week and then swapped off and then swapped off. Even if there are similarities across these instruments, again, it would have been better to choose one of these things and then improve at that for 3 weeks or however long. So hopefully after this, again, try and spend more time playing Sigma and see how you feel, instead of, again, swapping off. But we'll see how this game pans out here. I will say this as well, or I'll ask this normally when I normally start sessions. What are your strengths on Sigma? What are you looking to do? What are you good at?
Okay, so when this is going back a bit, I'll probably go and find him. But back when I was playing Overwatch 1, I wanted to have a better sight, like a better counter to some of the tanks that I was playing. And I went and got a little bit of coaching. I can go and find who the guy's name was on Sigma, because in Sigma I wanted to do a bit better on him, and I did leaps and bounds better on him for a period of time. With Sigma, what I find that I'm generally pretty good at doing, I was just going to go in. I've just opened up Overwatch again to try and send you a screenshot of my levels, because that's probably something that you want to see. So I'm just alt tabbed at the moment. Okay, so if I bring that over there. Need to make that windowed rather than full screen so I can actually get a screenshot of that without having to stuff around so much. Yes, apply. Tab. That's gone and done that on me. Okay, so that's still there. Barrier initialized. I really didn't answer your question, did I? So, with the coaching that I got on Sigma, he said about people leaving their shield out for so long that the shield gets destroyed. So I didn't do that. So I will push forward with it and I'll attack. I find that I'm good with Sigma from the perspective that I can keep throwing stones at something and I'm reasonably accurate at them, and I keep popping the shield up and down rather than leaving them being destroyed, which a lot of people do. I'm going to just try and save this. Okay, I'm not sure if that's shared.
There we go. I can see that. Great. Yeah, lots of vastly a lot of time on Reinhardt, obviously. And then okay, interesting. And 6 not too far behind. Neither is Ramatra. Okay. All right, that's interesting. The thing you said about again not leaving your shield out in the open is an important piece of micro. But as we're going to talk about just right now, there's probably going to be slightly more important things. So what are the strengths of your character? What are you good at doing? What can you do that no other character can really?
You're asking me what I can do or what my knowledge on Sigma himself as such?
As in, like, if you're playing Sigma like, what can you do as Sigma that you can't really do as any other character in the game? What can you uniquely do?
If I'm comparing it to Reinhardt, I appreciate how that I can just keep pelting the enemy. Basically, I'm able to move around, pop a shield out really quickly. I can shoot through that shield, of course, and I can continue to pelt them with stones, and then I can pull the shield back in. I can move to another side, move around to a different side. I find that I can also shoot stones around corners. I can shoot stones and bounce stones off the roof. When I was doing it, I don't know if it's still the case because maybe they've changed the mechanics of it now, but back then it was also sometimes better to bounce if you were hitting an enemy that was a little bit further away. It was often better to bounce the rocks off the ground sort of
Right,
just
yeah,
in front of that enemy rather than necessarily hitting them straight on. So
right.
just being able to use your rocks to get around things, around people, even around like Reinhardt shield if they're inside a building, and various things like that. So often it's very handy if there's a lot of nooks and crannies in it. Like I'm trying to think what that map name, one of the push maps there, and it's really good with Sigma sometimes because, and then even this map there, because like where that tank is back, also that's a bastion, is it, or
Yeah,
something at the other
Sebastian,
end
yeah.
there? Yeah, I can actually shoot if he goes around a corner. There's an angled wall on the right hand side. I can just bounce him straight at him from there. I mean, it's just super handy and it from
Right.
that perspective.
Um,
Um,
what about I guess we'll talk about it later, right? But one thing that and all that stuff is valid, right? But one thing you are really good at as well is marking aggression or marking aggressive angles, right? So if this person, let's say Roadhog, takes an aggressive angle, you can mark it very quickly with your shield. And actually, Sigma that I was coaching around about a month ago, when you're having to mark multiple different angles at once, you're really good at doing that as Sigma because you can toss out a shield, block a hog hook, and then retract your shield straight afterwards, and then shoot towards a bastion, mark his aggression. You can very easily mark different angles at once, and that's kind of the hardest thing to do on Sigma. It's knowing which angle to mark and why, and how can you mark multiple angles at once. So for example, I mean here it's a bit straightforward, right? Because these guys are standing on the same angle here. But if the hog was taking a different angle, like maybe the hog was playing left side here, you would have to sort of mark his hook with your shield, as in block it with your shield, retract it, and then you can spend your time focusing and damaging characters that are down in this lane. You're really good at doing that. If you're playing Reinhardt, that becomes a little bit difficult. Frankly, not just Reinhardt, but any character in the game, right? If you're playing Ramatra, you can't really mark these two angles at once, but you can on Sigma. So that's kind of the part of what I'm looking for here as well. We'll get into it here. Obviously, that mindset that I just mentioned on Sigma kind of informs how you use your cooldowns and how you use your shield, right? So there, of course, I mentioned using your shield to block hog hooks specifically and then retract it, not just keeping it out for hog damage in general. It's really important. Again, you're marking specific moments of aggression on Sigma, but to be honest, at this kind of elo, that stuff doesn't really matter as much. It starts to matter more when you get into plat range. But what I'm really looking for is the angles you're taking and how long you can stay on those angles for, and how much you can damage and affect the Bastion, the Ana, and to a lesser extent, the Hog too. So we'll see here, because there is already a position that you can maybe move to that could get you a better angle. But we'll see. Okay, so initial shootout is fine. Rocks, whatever. I'm not going to care about these cooldowns too much. Okay. And that shield, I think I'm not going to cry about the shield too much, right? But I think I want to ask you more about this shield because I think it's indicative of, again, your mindset and Sigma here. So, not this shield here, but this shield, right? What was the purpose of shielding this and then taking it back immediately?
Yeah, that was probably not as. Although I think should have. So it looks like this just to the right of the hand there. That has an impact on the shield there, isn't it? I think. But anyway, just protecting from Bastion, I guess.
Right, but you don't, and it's the thing, right? You don't actually need to be shielding to be able to do that. You can just stick to the cover here and poke at him and keep your shield for when you want to walk forward more aggressively. And that's also, again, something that's generally more important on not just Sig, but any shield character in the game. Shield to walk and take space, or shield to kite back and give up space if you need to. I generally don't stand down out in the open.
Right.
For sure. Also here.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll see here. Of course, wasted grasp and shoulder again, right? Yeah.
It was wasted there. Yeah. It was form or habit rather than any real form or purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
But notice how this entire time, if I zoom out, and we'll start at the beginning. This is like a nice exercise I like doing. Where do you start? So when do you get to main here? We'll say like 45ish, right? We'll draw a box, and we'll see how long you stay in this box for. And the reason why I like doing this is that it shows how static your positioning is. So for about 46 seconds, stay here for basically the entire time. you stand down the exact same angle. And your team kind of just wins because your Reaper's doing a lot here. You can see by ult charge, your Reaper's 60% to Blossom. He's the main one just carrying the fight here, right? But where could you maybe move to that gets you a better, more aggressive angle onto the enemy team, or i.e. enemies down this kind of area here?
Top left-hand corner. So basically, where the picture of Lucio is, I could probably go to and have better control
yeah.
on.
Not exactly the one I was thinking of, but that could work. So you could maybe move here, right? And then maybe play around here, play around this sort of area here in the cage, right? That could work. What might be the issue with taking this angle here?
You've got multiple. I guess I'm just trying to think. You got multiple points of entrance against you by enemy lines of fire, and also they can come up behind you easily.
Sure. So the behind thing I don't really care about too much.
And the hog can put you in the hole if you're not careful as well.
So the two big ones are the bash, the Bastion and the hog down main here. my throat. I'm just. But yeah, basically the Bastion and hog here. Hog can obviously hook you, so that's fairly obvious. The Bastion can also shred down your shield, and you'll be forced to use Grasp or again your shielded just to move out on the open space. I normally have a saying that I use with tanks, which is you don't want bad positioning to force bad cooldowns. So obviously, if you're in open space, you're gonna need to use your Grasp or you're gonna need the shield, right? But the point being is that you shouldn't be out in open space in the first place to begin with, so you can save your shield. It's very similar to what I just mentioned here with how you don't need to be shielding here. You can just play the cover or a better position so you can save that cooldown. So that's kind of my biggest worry by moving to the left side here. It's the fact that you're gonna have to waste cooldowns for it. You might get hooked as well. And also, it's a bit long to take, right? This is a kind of a long flank to take around about to the left side here.
Yeah.
Where else could you maybe move?
Where the picture of the Mercy is at the moment, on the right there.
Right. So your other option's the right side here, basically. Now, why? I'm not actually curious, right? Why didn't you say the right side here initially?
I was wanting the position in the top left corner of the. So basically, where it says Roxy there or whatever, to the right of where that is, right on the 4. So I can't mark it up, can I? So over in that corner, because it then gave me. It didn't give me them the line of sight, but it gave me the ability to pummel them as soon as they come around the corner. So I just sort of felt that I had a cover to shoot from, more so than I would if I was in the building where you've drawn the yellow line.
Right.
And the yellow line, I was sort of thinking that I was more exposed there, but yeah.
I guess there's two things here, right? And I think the first idea is really important that I tell not just Sigma players but any players, which is just because you're playing a more aggressive angle does not mean you are putting yourself at danger necessarily. So you could play this angle here in the right side room, but if you play it well, it's actually fairly safe, right? Maybe you can try and swing this corner swing this corner wide over here. Put your shield first so you can block hog hook or be careful of hog hook, right? Maybe hear the hog if he's coming towards you. Save your rock for that in case as well. You could also bounce off hyperspheres here. So again, as you kind of mentioned right a bit earlier, you can bounce hyperspheres off and do damage without needing LOS. You could potentially do that. But I think this angle here, if I back it up, to when the Bastion came out, or rather when you came out on point, so around about here, had he started moving in this sort of right side area, this would have been a really nice angle. Just look at this, right? Look, we can forget the Bastion hog for now.
Line. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like this.
Take out the back line. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this Arna and Mercy are basically free pickings, and even if they weren't here, again, this is kind of hindsight, right? They should actually be playing more so here, right? But even if they weren't playing to the right side and they were playing behind their hog and their Bastion, this is still a great angle because now you can sort of stay here, toss down hyperspheres down this like narrow sort of line or narrow area, and do a lot of value. And there's not really that much that the hog can do, right? If the hog decides to walk onto you and the Bastion decides to walk onto you, what does that do for your team?
Well, it brings them out. They're not protected. They're more exposed.
Exactly, right? That allows your Lucio and your Reaper, who are playing left side here, to sort of walk onto them and sort of go onto them for free. And I like describing this. The way I like describing the idea is, again, as partly as aggressive but safe. So this would be like an aggressive but safe space. But also the angle or the way it's aggressive and safe is that the angle you take is such that if the enemy team want to come and clear you, they need to be putting themselves at direct risk to do so. And you can see that
Yep.
again right there, because they'll be putting themselves at risk from your Reaper, your Lucio, and hell, even your Honor down this angle here too. So this would have been, again, this angle here is really the big thing. I can ignore your shield or your micro usage, right? Or your rock, whatever. It's the big thing that I'm looking for is playing this right side area and trying to get a deeper angle onto the enemy team's core here. Which would have been really nice to see you do. And it's also part of the reason why I kind of wanted you to go right side here and not left side, because
Yep.
if you're playing left
Yep.
side here, but if you're playing the roundabout
Yep.
here, you can't see past this corner. Whereas obviously,
Yes. Yeah.
the opposite is true. If you play here, you can see deep into the corner.
So you
But-
got more control about, and you got more knowledge, information, on the play of the
Right.
game. Yeah.
So you've got better LOS, you've still got cover to use, you've got a really good angle. You can kite back and retreat back through this, where your venture is at, basically, if you need to. Yeah, you're basically, you're fine, you're safe, but you're still increasing your aggressive output the entire time. And that would have been really nice to see you do that. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. What I mean by taking angles in the mid fight, basically, and increasing your value on Sigma. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Because your team will win this fight. Okay. That's really the biggest thing that I'm looking at for now, because obviously I can talk about your cooldowns, but I think the big fish is where you're playing. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Shield's okay. Alright, so actually really good shield there, right? Why was that a good shield?
Because there was a lot of damage coming through, plus I was putting myself in direct line of sight to multiple enemies in a small confined area, so they could put a lot of damage on me in a short period of time if I didn't. But yeah, and it's also protecting teammates.
Right.
But, yep.
So again, to put it simply, right? You are aggressing onto the Bastion, and there's also a lot of aggression you need to be eating up with your shield, i.e.
Yes.
from the Bastion form. To put it simply, so yeah,
Yep.
more of those shields are what I want to see. Okay, there we go, nice. And they should get a bit staggered out here, hopefully. Okay, just don't get hooked. Fine. Sure. Yeah, you do quite a lot actually. Why do you use your grasp like randomly or seemingly randomly here? So like here, for example.
I think it also comes back from, I don't know if you've played Overwatch 1, but in Overwatch 1, it had a higher level of absorption of damage. Now it doesn't do as much, so some of my habit is probably come from that as well. It used to actually absorb and heal you almost type of thing. Like it would have.
Okay.
Its action was a little bit less. So yeah, I mean, I need to address that and not be doing that as much. Sure.
Yeah. Again, it's the exact same thing as your shield in terms of the aggression that you're taking. Obviously, the aggression will be slightly different because you can't, you can get CC'd through your grasp, but yeah, obviously these grasps here aren't very conducive to either allowing you to hold an angle, kite back, absorb aggression, that kind of thing. So yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna cry you too much for this, but if you were a little bit quick enough, you could probably shield off your Lucio there, but I'm not gonna cry about it too much. Okay. And again, it's a small thing too, right? But you do this quite a lot often, of what I've seen from First Fight, where you flicker your shield like this, right? And it's actually a common Ryan mistake that I see as well, because it stops your shield regenerating, and it also means that you'll take a meaningless poke like this for basically no reason. So this poking's fine, right? But if there's aggression you can avoid, and can you avoid this aggression from the Torbjorn right now?
Oh, you're asking a question? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could have if I just left the shield a bit longer.
Right,
Yeah.
you could very easily avoid the aggression. Just peeking to the left side as you are right now, or peeking behind the cover like this. The aggression doesn't require your shield. So again, a little bit of flickering and a little bit too much.
Yep.
Again, that shield, same kind of ordeal. Okay, rock's fairly okay, but again, that shield there, like what could have been a shield, right? But This needs shielding. This is the thing that needs shielding right now. The aggression from the hog
Yep.
because of the hook, but because again it's out, you've already used it. You can't obviously block the hog hook now. But yeah. Thankfully your Reaper seems to be fine. Okay. And shield flicker there, not ideal. Okay. Honestly, if your Reaper's doing Blossom, then you could toss the shield directly out in front of him. But yeah, it's a bit of micro. I'm gonna cry about that too much as well. Seems to be a roller for the main part, but the micro that I've seen mainly has been your own sort of shield management here. Enemy team's been quite getting steamrolled here, but it's fine. Angle here is fine. Sure, get up. Okay, again, I'm not a fan of the shield. Okay, sure. Okay. 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 Alright. Yeah, again, shield is up here, just not useful. Grasp, again, there's not much aggression for the grasp. Yeah, and that shield there would have been quite nice. Okay, unfortunate rock miss. Yeah, so this is a play that in print, you're probably gonna not get slept here, you're probably gonna be fine, you're probably gonna live, and you're probably gonna get some value out of this, but I felt like this was gonna happen inevitably, where there's gonna be a play that on paper is a bad play, but the outcome is that you're still gonna get value out of this play some way or somehow or another. And this is kind of the example of it here. So what is, in principle, the issue with fluxing this when you get after you get hooked? Around about here. What's the issue with fluxing?
Okay, when you say fluxing, do you mean ulting?
Yeah, ulting, yeah, your Griffitic flux. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say mark all the time, which is fine, it's just different characters, I guess. Do you mean like when I'm actually attacking or shooting someone? Is that what you mean by marking them?
Yeah,
Like actually
so
attacking?
I forgot to
Sure,
clarify
no, that's
that.
okay.
So like
No, that's
marking.
okay. It's not a problem.
Yeah, no
Yep.
worries. It's a term taken from football in the UK, which basically just
Sure.
means matching the opposing player. So on a football pitch, for example, if I say a defender marks a winger or marks a striker, they're physically going on top of that striker to mark their angle
Sure,
to contest them directly.
Just yeah, no worries. Just making sure I understood. That's
Right,
all.
right, yeah. So if I say, for example, like on first fight, for you to mock the Bastion, I'm saying match the Bastion with your cooldowns. Look at the Bastion,
Yep.
look at him, etc.
Focus the back, focusing. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of what I mean by marking that. Some people get confused
no
by it as well, so that's completely fine. But if there's any other terms I say as well that you're not that clear on, do bring that up to me as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's all good.
But yeah.
No worries.
So yeah, what is might be the issue with ulting this or fluxing?
Okay, looking at health, I don't have full health. I have a bit of health there. As you said, it could get slept.
Yeah. What about the general aggression here as well from the enemy team? What is the Hog currently doing?
Looks like he's ulting, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's ulting right now. He's using Hog directly in front of you. So but essentially there's a ton of aggression here that you kind of need to be absorbing. Or at least not absorbing, but you can't really match the flux here because you're probably gonna, ideally, I say ideally, right? But in a high level lobby, you probably die for this. The nade, the sleep dart, the fact that there's a Torbjorn in overload right in front of you, there's just too much aggression for a 400 HP character to actually live through right now. So I would have liked to see you actually grasp away. So like maybe again, after the Hog hooks you, you use your kinetic grasp, you can eat all this damage right now, that would be amazing. You easily get 400 shields off of that. And then afterwards, maybe you sort of bait them in a little bit more, maybe your Lucy wants to go in, maybe you've seen some kind of opportunity to where, hey, I can maybe flux these guys because they're in open space. Something like that, and then you can get some value out of that flux.
So it's a bad time for ult, really. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just too much aggression for the ult right now. And the timing of it is actually somewhat okay because your team can actually follow up on the flux. Right? Your Reaper is gonna get some kind of value out of the flux, and you're gonna be the one drawing all the attention away. The timing of it is actually fine with what your team is doing. But in terms of your own abilities to live this, not so much.
Survive, yeah.
Right. Not gonna be very high. Where could you maybe move to during the flux itself?
Well, basically, when you got ult, you can fly, so you can move wherever. But yeah, so you could take some cover behind a building, basically.
Right. So
but
maybe
you want us to be able to drop them. like, and then attack them, like throw a rock at them when they hit the ground, so to finish them off. But yeah, you could hide during the bulk of it. So yeah.
Yeah, not just hide as well, but where could you land as well after your flux?
Maybe even on that veranda to the left. So
Yeah, that would be great.
or yeah, or even over near below where that Mercy is. Although Mercy, that's an enemy Mercy, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
mean
could work as well, right?
over here.
Um,
Yep.
Here could also work as well. So there's multiple different
Yep.
locations that you could actually rotate to during your flux,
Yep.
right? So here, or here.
Yeah.
This angle looks really aggressive, right? And again, this is
Yep.
what I meant by aggressive but safe. It looks really aggressive, but if you can get to this angle, nobody on the enemy team can really clear you. And actually, the Arna's going to be very scared. The Mercy's going to be scared. Everyone's going to be scared right now. And actually, if they look behind you and they try and clear you, again, that's going to make a lot of space for your Reaper and your Lucio to speed forward.
That's true.
And get value down that
Strategically,
angle, right?
that's so good. Yeah.
Right, that would have been a really nice. So we'll see where you land after your flux. We'll see. Maybe straight down. Straight down right in front of the hog, right? And actually
Which
would have
was
been
stupid because he was ulting. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You could have got put into this corner over here, maybe. Maybe you get slept. Maybe again the Tourbillon is actually in nano boost right now. And again, even though you're playing the more passive angle, quote unquote, you're actually putting yourself at more danger. Had you ever again been able to fly over here, or again behind over here, or something like that? Oh, this guy's coming out of Wraith right now. You could even rock him or finish off the kill right now, and actually get that kill after he exits his Wraith form. That could have been something nice to do. But yeah, all those kind of small things that, and that's the meat and potatoes of your character. It's playing these positions or playing these angles that you're really hard to be cleared from because you're playing Sigma. You're just a tank. You're really hard to actually be cleared from this angle. But also, you can do a lot from this angle too. You can shoot anyone that you want. You can mark any angle that you want as well. If there's a certain person that's aggressive and that you need to mark, like again a Tourbillon and Nano Boost, you can maybe rock him, for example, right? Something like that. You can do a ton of stuff here is kind of the point. Whereas now, I'm less convinced that might be the case with where you land.
Yeah.
Okay. And shield's not the greatest. I mean, you're behind it now, obviously, right? But I would have just shielded right in front of them. It's a bit of an awkward shield there, but it's relatively fine. But yeah. Okay. Lucio beats. Okay, so what does the Lucio beat imply? What does it imply that your team might do? Or that you should do?
Push or hold, I guess.
Push, right? Why push?
Because we've just used one of the ults, which was my ult. There is some, although their health, looking at their health, has come back up a bit. But yeah, just to keep them off point, just to be in control of the situation, put pressure on them, keeps them back.
I think a way I like, I guess, reframing it is you can push. The beat allows you to safely push forward here.
Yeah.
And safely is, I guess, the key word, right? So when I see you move backwards here, right, it looks very odd. Like your teams are sort of, I can draw it out like this basically. The rest of your team are moving and charging in forward, while you're moving backwards. And you can see that you are the most passive person on your entire team right now. And actually, if your team want help moving forward, you need to be there because you're a tank, right? You can shield forward, you can kinetic grasp, you can absorb a lot of the cooldowns. Like you can allow and essentially sponge a lot of the cooldowns here to allow again your Reaper and your Lucio to speed forward here a lot more. Your Venture too as well. So that would have been quite nice to see. Despite again your team getting the Reaper kill.
See, now I realise what's happening.
Now
you come forward again,
right?
Yeah,
and now it's like this is a classic sort of desyncing error that I see with a lot of teams where often one person or like some teammates will go in, some teammates will go out, and then 2 seconds afterwards, the teammate that went out will go back in, and the teammates that are currently in will go back out. And that's exactly what we see. Where your Reaper, half HP right now, your Lucio very low. They kind of want to move back out right now, but again, now you're pushing back in because, you know, you see that you've got a pick and you can actually walk forward. But again, these guys are commonly out at the moment, so a little bit of a desync there as well. Let's see the CDs here as well, the cooldowns. Okay. yeah, shield there would have been nice, right? You don't know the status of that hog hook. And again, this kind of shows me the fact that you're looking at the Mercy, and shows me that you're not really thinking or considering where the hog's playing and the aggression you can sort of take up from the hog here. Because a hook there would have been lovely, you know, just a classic shield to block the hook, and then you can burn the Mercy. Mercy's like hard feeding here. You can destroy the Mercy, that's all fine. But you can't do that now because you just got hooked. So yeah, I guess like the question here becomes, right? What's stopping you from shooting off the hog? Was it something that, again, you just didn't know or consider, or didn't think that was a big deal to shield off? Yeah, why not shoot off the hog hook?
I think, as I just said, I was backing out because it was in a bad situation. Then, see, these are all randoms except for Rem and is GVT, GTA Barry there. Those, so GTA Barry and Rem and I are in Discord. Everyone else is random. So I mean, I didn't know Rem was going to do her ult then, but most of the time she would actually say when she was going to ult, and she didn't that time, I guess, because we would have normally, because I love playing. That's why we're playing for group in Overwatch 1, because we coordinate, we talk to each other about what we're doing, so we know when to move forward and back. If you're playing with randoms most of the time, yeah, that's pretty much it's not something you can do, because you can't guess what your teammates are going to do.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely, I should have turned my gaze to hog for sure. Yep.
Right. And it's not even something that's like, how do I say it? It's something that's reactive, you know? Because when you're walking up forward like this eventually, it's something that you can 100% consider. It's before I peek this corner and need to block hog hook. It's before you even see the roadhog. It's just like a general mindset template that you'll have when you're playing against certain characters like hog, right? Honor is also another one too. Nade is really important to block. Less so on Sigma generally, more so on Ryan. But it's still really important to block Nade. Dynamite is also another one as well. Like over time, you'll experience some of these cooldowns that are really important to block. Like again, hog hook is the main one here, obviously, and that would have been really nice, so you can actually just burn the Mercy hit. But yeah. Okay. And again, actually using Grasp here, so after you get hooked, and I'm out here, I would have pretty much not immediately, right, but I would have definitely grasped before you used your accretion. Because look at the aggression here is wild, right? There's a hog right in front of you, a tub right there, an honor right there, right? There's aggression you need to be absorbing, and your half HP, right? After you got hooked. So the grasp here is where you need it the most. But yeah. Rock there is fairly okay, but as you can see, you're 21 HP. I would not be surprised if you die for this. Get healed up, thankfully. Alright, and that should be first point. Nice, okay. So the main things there were repositioning in the mid-fight to, again, take more of those aggressive but safe angles, and also responding to aggression with your cooldowns. In other words, using shield to block off high bursts of aggression, or using grasp to block off or to absorb high bursts of aggression. It's kind of the main thing so far. Okay, we'll see next points and how this pans out. Alright.
Under Ryan, because it's really, yeah, anyway, I'm still on Sigma, damn it, not to worry.
I mean, thankfully some of the same ideas do still apply to Ryan. So like, for example, again, this Arna sleep thing will still apply. And the repositioning thing will still apply as well to some extent too. But yeah. Okay.
No worries.
We'll see here. Angle's fine. Okay. I don't mind the rock and queen. Again, obviously you missed the rock, but I think the rock itself in principles is fine. I've got no concern with that. Okay. Sure, they're not ideal, but I'm not gonna cry about it too much. Okay. You really like flickering out your shield. So yeah, again, you really like doing this. Again, grasp, again, not a good grasp, right? Yeah, not ideal. Okay, get a knife there. Okay. Sure. You can try and burn queen. So right now, because this is something that I've seen with D.Va players in the past, where because they waste their cooldowns early on, it prevents them from being able to take a better angle later into the fight, or it prevents them from being able to make a better play later into the fight, and we're kind of seeing this here, where because your shield is not great, and because your grasp is not great, you get knifed by the enemy Junker Queen, and then you're forced to essentially duel her, which is not what you want. Was not something that's ideal to your character. Where could you maybe move to a Sigma? Let's say you didn't get knifed here by Queen, and you had a little bit more time to walk around. Where could you maybe move to on Sigma? What are some different positions you can maybe move to?
You can always use environmental things. So you could have gone actually on to point, which of course is what you're trying to take and hold anyway. And then there's pillars that you could have
Yeah,
used to move in and out of. And you could have gone to the left, I guess, up the steps and lined up there on him. But then you're moving away. Your objective, of course, has to always be the point. So you're going away from the point, inviting them to walk into the point. So I'd probably preferably go on to point and hold from there, I guess.
sure. Right, so that last point there is important, but I'll sort of add more nuance to that idea there in a moment, right? So the point thing is important, right? And actually, I'm not going to get too into specifics too much, but it's
Sure.
really good into Queen, or tanks that haven't got shields, so like Zarya, Queen, to a lesser extent, Orisa and Malga. But it's really good against tanks that are squishy and haven't got shields, and haven't got any mobility cooldowns, because Queen basically has to traverse this clot or this big sort of gap of open space, in which the entire time that she's moving across this, you can poke her out constantly. So yeah, I mean, going to point there, more than reasonable for that sort of idea. This left side angle here is one that you kind of spotted, is kind of the one that, from an individual standpoint, if we ignore the point for a second here, is actually the one that I want to see you taking. What can you see happening if, let's say, and the points almost capped here as well. I don't think Queen's going to reach it in time. But let's say you capped points right over here, and you moved to the left side over here. Where can you guess the enemy team might move? You can start with the Queen. Where she might, where she, I can't speak. Where might she move after you move to this pillar here, to this left side angle here?
To the point, or then back into the alleyway. But yeah,
Right, maybe to the point. Right. What about the honor? Is she gonna move here at all? What can you do
she
to
might
the
drop
honor from
back.
this angle?
You can attack her.
Right.
You can
So
actually mark her.
there we go. Very simple, right? You can just zone her out, fire down hyperspheres, zone her away, and do some good damage onto her, right? What about
Yep.
these characters over here?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you can certainly
Exact
attack
same
them.
thing, right? Where you can shoot from here, maybe even deepen your angle a little bit more, similar to, again, the very first fight on the last point, and start getting actual value and actual kills onto these targets here. And you're not only marking these targets, but you're actually dueling them and winning those duels up close and personal. And against the Queen this entire time as well, the Queen doing this is going to be left stranded here essentially. Sure, again, maybe you can give up the point and maybe she flips the point. I doubt it's going to happen anyways. But worst case scenario, you're going to get guaranteed value against the honor and against these characters here that Queen can't help out, and you'll win the fight in the long run here essentially. And that's kind of the angle that I wanted to see you take a little bit more, strafing to the left side here. There's also other factors that apply to this idea here too, right? So, what is your Reaper currently doing? Is your Reaper being aggressive?
No, he's not actually.
Do you think? Do you think he's not being aggressive right now? What do you think your Reaper's doing?
I can't see any of our characters in that view from that perspective. But he's about to wraith form to go to another place.
Maybe, right? But again, I'm focusing on the aggression your Reaper's taking. Right? Is your Reaper being aggressive here?
That's our Reaper, sorry.
That's your Reaper,
thinking
yeah.
it was the enemy, sorry.
That's your Reaper, yeah.
Yeah, so no, he's being aggressive because because I was thinking that that was the enemy, but that's our shrub is ours. All right.
Yeah,
so no,
right.
he was actually attacking them. So then if
Yeah.
I would actually attack those, I'm helping my teammate kill those ones.
Exactly,
so, yeah, I
right?
get it.
You can sync up your
sorry,
aggression
yep.
with your Reaper and then do stuff again against the enemy backline there, which would have been great. And again, that's the thing that I've been sort of hammering on, is not just, again,
Yeah.
is marking and focusing on the points that are the most aggressive, either aggression from your teammates, but also aggression from the enemy team here too. But yeah, that would have been quite nice to see, instead of,
Yeah,
again,
that would have been.
just marking the queen here. And the queen's fine. Again, I don't mind that. You can burn the queen fairly easily. She's out in open space, right? I'll mention some micro against the queen that you can do. So you get knifed, right? She actually goes past your shield here, but I would have actually liked to see you block off the honor healing, and obviously she got naded hit by your honor here as well, right? But ideally, what I would like to see is you block off the healing from the honor with your own shield, so you can shoot her off like this, and then you can just rock the queen and burn the queen, and then shoot the queen, and then hopefully she'll eventually die or get forced out. And that would have been quite nice to see that. Of course, again, she just walks past your shield anyway, so your shield's doing a good job here. But that would have been quite nice. We'll see it.
I'll tell you a weakness that I do have that you've already picked up on, that I was aware of, and that I've been trying to start to do better at, and I will often, as a tank, I'll often tunnel focus on the tank, and
right.
I need to be better at doing what you were just saying. And it's something that I've said to others that I play with, that I need to be starting to just let go and attack the back line and not worry about the tank so much all the time. So
yeah, I think it's quite satisfying when the tank is generally the easiest one to hit and you get those constant hit markers. Like, it feels like you're doing a lot, especially when you rack up like high stats, or you get that hit markers constantly, or you get the enemy tank like fairly low. It's very common that I see with like Zaryas against Orissas, where they'll just permanently beam the enemy Orisa and not do much against the enemy team. They'll just let their Sojourn take an amazing angle, meanwhile they're just burning the enemy Orisa playing Zarya, because that's what you're supposed to do as Zarya, and it's more nuanced than that. So, of course, yeah, widening your perception and widening your awareness about characters that exist beyond the enemy tank. In this case, obviously, beyond the enemy queen. But yeah. Okay. Alright, and actually we could put the camera, something else I like doing here as well is, we can put the camera here and then see what else you could have done. Of course, here you can be poking the queen the entire time. You see a Reaper right there, maybe not see it right, but he's barely there, just over here, taking an angle, right? And from here, you can shoot the Yana. Mercy's flying out in open space for no reason. You can deepen your angle over here and start shooting the enemy Torb. That would have been quite nice. We can stay here as well and shoot the Mercy. That's fine, right? You could be doing a lot, and especially at higher level as well. You can be doing multiple. I don't want to mention this too much for now, but you can be doing multiple things at once, right? So maybe you can be shooting off the Yana while shooting the Mercy while rocking the Queen, to give an example. So you can rock the Queen because she's going onto your Ana right now, so rocking the Queen can prevent that from happening. You can shoot off the Ana, as I mentioned, for the healing, and then you can either shoot the Mercy if she's killable, shoot the Ana if she's killable, or shoot the Queen if she's killable or dangerous at all. That's fine as well. But that's also, again, that sort of broader idea about compartmentalizing different bits of aggression and then responding to that with your different cooldowns, which is the hardest part of Sigma. But yeah. Okay. Nice, you put down your shield, which is good. Okay. And here again, right, you're sort of matching the Queen once again. So you see a Torbjorn right there, Mr. Torbjorn right there. You see an Ana right over here. And you can probably guess that Mercy's going to be somewhere beyond here. There we go, Mercy's right there, right? And also, because you're playing the game, normally I have overlays off, but you can see your Reaper right there, just right there through the wall. You can probably guess that, again, Ana's going to be the most killable target based on when your Reaper's playing. So again, I would like for you to shoot the Ana here. Or at least, again, shoot her off. Do something to essentially shoo her away from taking the high grounds, which would have been quite nice. But yeah, we'll see here. Okay, again, that flash shield again. Okay, Rock's not terrible because the Queen was axing and your Avenger was going in. It's not terrible Rock. But you can see in the kill feed that your Reaper's got the kill onto the Ana, right? And that could have been nice had you contributed to that in some kind of way. Okay, shield's okay. 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 And again, we're going straight on to Queen, right? Which is, again, not what your character is built for. This is kind of why I mentioned the very first thing I asked before we actually started watching was, what are your strengths on Sigma? And this is why I kind of asked that question, because this is not what you're strong at. Your character's not strong at brawling the queen straight up. If you want to do that, then you can play any other array of tanks. You can play Orisa, is probably the best tank to do that. But even against Orisa, you can do other things, right? But this is not what your character's built for. And you can see, you're almost dead because of it. So what could you have done here instead? After you break the turrets, and the Ana gets rezzed, what are your options? What can you do here?
Would have been better to actually work on Ana and Mercy.
Right, so again, you can move over here, take down your shield first, right? But then move over here, shoot these guys,
Yep.
help out your Reaper. Maybe you can go for the Torbjorn as well, because you just saw him right there. So by proxy, you
Yep.
know that he's roughly
Yep.
around here. Again, Torbjorn is not that aggressive, so you don't need to go onto him, right? But I think the Ana is the most important target here, because your Reaper is right there alongside the Ana as well. So that would have been
So it's
quite
helping
nice.
your teammate.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Only is it once the Torb starts becoming more of a threat, so maybe, for example, this Torb deepens his angle and he wants to play more aggressively, that's when I would turn your attention to marking the Torb angle. That's when it becomes a bit more important. It's the aggression. That's what I'm looking for. But yeah, if you can, in other words, mark the aggression from Torb, or be aggressive yourself and help out teammates that are also being aggressive. Again, your Reaper, that's what I'm really looking for. You can see top down. That would have been amazing, you know? Like, you could just, one shot there helps on your Reaper a ton. You can also mark this angle onto the soldier here, and that shield here would be amazing right now. The shield right there would have been amazing, and then you can mark off 2 angles at once. Absolute presto, that would have been pretty much perfect there to begin with, so that would have been ideal. Again, here you're brawling a queen,
Yep.
which is not, again, conducive to what your character's great at.
Yep.
Might even die for this, who knows? Maybe 3 HP, there you end up dying for that, right? Which is not ideal.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see next. Actually, we can back it up here because I want to see what these guys do as well. Again, you can stop this entirely. Like these 2 characters. Yeah, like I mean, your Lucius kind of feeds him. Not gonna lie. But again, you can shield that angle off there to begin with in the first place, which again would have been quite nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll look at next fight. Right. Okay.
Can't believe I stayed on Sigma this whole game.
Yeah.
Not true.
Okay. Go again. Rocking the Mercy that was completely reasonable. She was AFK on point. I don't mind that. Sure. Why not? Okay. Sure. Okay. And now this is where things get difficult, right? Because now you've got a choice. Who do you go on, right? Queen, Juno, or Mercy? So we'll see what happens here. Okay. And yeah, as I kind of expected, it's probably Queen. Now this is where awareness on tank becomes really, really important. What are you not looking at right now?
Any other threats? I'm not looking at the other threats enough. I'm not actually attacking
Right.
the other threats.
Exactly, right? Because I have no idea if there's anyone on high grounds. I have no idea if there's any angle coming through here. I have no idea if someone's coming through here. I have no idea if someone's here as well, right? Clearly they're not, and I think they're currently in respawn. Yeah, they're coming a bit late to the fight. The soldier's a little bit late. The Torb's a little bit late too, right? But that awareness is really important. So something that I told a Brig player to do to help fix awareness is after you do an action, or like for example you use whip shot, or your tank goes in, like some kind of action that happens, you do a quick look around. And this is something that's also really useful in Sigma, because your recovery time in between your primary fire shots is so long that you can do a quick glance in between your shots. So something that Sigma players used to do back in high level play, and they still do it now, is that they'll shoot, look around, shoot, look around, shoot, look around, and that can actually help you a lot with your awareness. So something that's nice and practical that you can do, to again, get into the rhythm of your character. Because that could have actually informed you of like, you know what, I can actually go for this target instead, you know? This guy is a bit more killable, a bit easier to shoot, my Reaper's going to go onto him as well, and he's going to be the most aggressive person on the enemy team right now, maybe barring the Queen, right? But again, that comes into the idea about rocking the Queen, shooting and shooting off the Torbjorn, something like that. But yeah, I also wouldn't mind if you shot the queen here. But I guess my main concern is you can shoot the queen while zoning off Juno and Torb at the same time, right? It's not just, oh, I can just shoot queen, put my shield in front of the queen, and then put all my attention in front of the queen here, right? The awareness is I can shoot this off and burn the queen in the meantime. If again I can't go onto this target or onto the Torbjorn just yet. But yeah, that would have been quite nice to see. Okay. Alright. Looks a little bit late. Okay, and again you can see that again. We can put the camera back over here. But had you been maybe a little bit further back as well when you move back the points. Yeah, like if you run about right here right now. Again, shielding that would have been great. Like shielding the sword right there would have been great. And then again you can rock the queen and burn the queen. And then when your Reaper goes for this play, you're right with your Reaper right now. And then again, of course, you can help shield the Reaper, walk with your Reaper during the Blossom, and that could have been really nice. Whereas here, obviously, you're not with your Reaper at all. Your Reaper's in Blossom, meanwhile, you're over here. So you can't really help out your Reaper. But yeah, that aggression is, again, what I'm looking for. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Okay. Okay.
Looking around there a fair bit, looking around everywhere.
Yeah. I would like to see you shoot the Torp here, right? But the shield onto the top there would have been nice. So immediately the second you walk out here, I want a shield straight onto this angle to block off the Torbjorn. That would have been quite nice instead of again this shield here, which doesn't really zone or do much, right? It's just kind of out in the open. Okay, we'll watch. I want to watch your next flux or your next ultimate. So. We'll skip to that. Ultimates, there we go. And then see how you use this one here. Alright. Go back a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Overfixation on the tank still.
Yeah. Right, because beforehand, right, this entire time you have flux. Who could you flux potentially right now? Is the enemy Juno in a good position?
Is that a Juno, is it? Okay.
That's a Juno, yeah.
Sorry, I was looking for the Juno.
Is she in a good position right now?
For doing something against, yeah, sure. So is the Queen. Yep.
Yeah, so like, who's easier to kill in flux? Juno or Queen?
Juno.
Juno, most likely, right? So you can flux the Juno right now, because she's in open space. She's very killable. So you can flux the Juno, bring her in the air, and then kill her afterwards. And that would have been a lot better of a flux than the one that you do here. There's certain, I'm not going to get too much or overloaded with information, at least for the first session. But there's certain triggers that you'll be looking for that tell you, or that can imply to you, when to go for a certain play. Actually, my last video on Ramacha, I kind of went over this in the whole trigger section, and reading triggers. But for example, that one there would be a positional trigger, because Juno is out in open space. You can very easily flux her and punish her for being, again, out in open space. And she's also very close to you as well. Juno should not be that close to you. Juno should be probably playing around about here or here. Be quite harder to reach. For those two reasons, again, you can flux and look for the kill. Okay. And again, here you're very, very focused on the enemy queen the entire time. I would have actually liked to see you, again, deepen your angle here and look for, like, again, this would be, it's kind of free pickings here, the soldier, right? Out in open space, half HP there. Again, this would also be another great time for flux. Right in that open space there, but you can't see that, unfortunately.
But quick question though, isn't the ult weakened by being inside the building and never being seen to be able to do the same sort of damage when you can't drop them down? I don't know, that's probably my ignorance there or something.
So the way Flux works is you do 50 damage initially when you drag people in the air, and then when you slam them down, so the slam down is half of their maximum HP.
Right.
So against,
and that makes no difference if they're high or low.
It makes zero difference. Zero difference. So for example, Juno there in that example, right? 225, right? So the initial raise is 50 damage, so she goes from 225 to 175. And then 50% of her max HP is around 112, which means she'll be around about between 50 and 60 HP, roughly, give or take.
She's really easy picking.
And then, yeah, she would be a fairly easy pick off of that. Just 1 or 2 shots from your primary fire, and she's dead. Of course, accounting that she'll get a little bit healed from that initial 50 damage. She'll be around about 100 HP, but still, she's fairly killable regardless. So yeah, it's half the HP. But yeah, you can see against Queen here, yeah, around about half HP there, so it doesn't affect the damage. I'm glad that we talked about that. Just there. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Alright. You also, there's a bad habit you do as well, which is that you fly straight out in open space during flux, which means that you, against good players, you will get burnt for this. Again, it's not a massive burning mistake. It's not why you can't be on platinum, right? But again, it's a small thing that, again, you might notice the higher you climb. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that case there, I don't mind choosing Queen because she is fairly killable, so that's okay. But after you realize that the Queen's not killable, again, I want attention to be on these characters here. Look at your Reaper, right? He's not actually going for the Queen. He's looking to go on the Soldier on point. The Soldier is in open space, very close to your Reaper, very killable. Especially if you had accretion and you rocked him. But yeah, that would have been, again, quite nice. Okay, and going on Queen's not the worst thing in the world, right? But also, when you go on Queen here, how could you maybe use your shield?
To protect the
your honor?
Is it the Lucio in front of me? Yeah,
your
or the Anna, sorry. Yeah.
Maybe, right? What can you notice?
Also behind. Sorry,
yes, right? So why behind?
Oh, because we've got an ult happening there, an enemy ult with the Torb.
Sure.
And also to stop them from healing up the Queen.
Yes, right? Because if I look at what your Juno's doing, or their Juno rather, their POV.
Yeah, it's healing up the Queen, yeah.
Right, look at this. Healing the Queen. That kind of things, again, what your character is good at doing. Is zoning and doing marking aggression at once. Right, it's
need to be more strategic with the shield, yeah. Sorry, right. I'm just thinking aloud, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good because the more you think about the stuff, the more important it is, right? And that's kind of what I mentioned beforehand about, again, you can do two things at once. Sure, you can shoot Queen, I'm fine with that, right? But you can do more than that.
Use your shield, yeah. Exactly. It's just silly not to use it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. And yeah, similar case, that's a more clear-cut case there, more visually clear-cut case. But of course, that same thing would apply back on the Ana there, on the first fight, for example.
Yes, earlier on that we were talking about, right. Because it would have blocked the heals too.
Yeah, it would have blocked the heals for sure. Okay, you get Queen ulted here, and it's actually a little bit too late. Honestly, maybe had you blocked the healing there, maybe Queen lives. I doubt that, but it's true. She probably should have died there when she was low HP.
Yeah,
around about here. She's really low right now. Kind of unfortunate. Yeah, and that gets come on and shout in time. There's not really much you can do after the Queen doesn't die there. But yeah, in short, some missed opportunities for Flux, some missed opportunities for getting and killing targets with your Reaper, and then missed opportunity there to shield off the Juno while the Queen goes in, to maybe increase the chance of killing her. But yeah. Okay, we'll do a quick summary, and then I'll answer any questions you may have. We'll use this wall to summarize things. First thing. Oh boy. Let me think.
Just going, where do I start?
Right. I think so. So the way I normally do my summaries is that I have 3 key points, and the points kind of link into each other, so they're kind of holistic. So I think, we'll start off with this. I think the biggest thing is like probably some sort of repositioning. In the mid fight. So again, to give some fight examples, the very, very, very first fight on the first points. First points. When you're in flux, or again when you're ulting. Flux / ulting. Being able to fly. And what other examples? I mean, there were 2 examples of this, but generally again, it's the first fight on second point here as well. Second point. Or again, you can look for your Reaper. Or in other words, the aggression, what you're looking for. targets that are on the enemy team, targets that are aggressive, but also people that on your team are playing aggressive too, and seeing if in some way you can help support them or follow up off their own aggression. That would have been quite nice.
Yeah.
I think that's going to lead me
Yeah.
onto the second point, which is marking or looking for aggression. So basically, again, the Reaper's the key example of that. But also again, the aggression from enemy angles. So to give an example of that, the Torb and Soldier being stacked on the first fight would be a great example of something that again you can shield off. First fight, second point. Other cases would be again Hogcook's the big one. I'll say Hogcook as well. Hog, Hook, and then again you can retract it. What else? I'll say Honor here as well. Honor plus Honor. Nade as well. I will leave out the multitasking thing for now because that thing is still fairly hard to do. Like I only really see decent Sigma players do it beyond Diamond and above. I think for you, I think it's important to get the groundwork in terms of just generally marking aggression and paying attention to who's playing more aggressive, and not sort of focusing down the enemy Junker Queen the entire time or the enemy tank the entire time, and looking for a broader perspective of the game and trying to change your position to mark different targets or mark enemy DPS angles. I think that's the key thing that I'm looking for. And then again later we can talk about multitasking. And the third thing, very simple. Don't flicker shield, and don't waste rolls. Very simple, very easy, very hopefully somewhat practical. And of course, I'll add something other bonus thing, and you can look around in between your hyperspheres. Yep. Okay. Those are the 3 key points. Any sort of questions or queries you may have?
Nope, you've given me lots to think about and practice and go back and have some games and apply. And that's really good. I appreciate Kajal.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Of course, if you think of anything, then do feel free to DM me, and I'll try and answer any queries that you may have if you are playing the game and you think of something. Bye bye.